I couldn't see. I couldn't breathe. The only thing I could hear was my 6-year-old boy crying and screaming, "Mommy, Mommy, please don't die." That boy is now traumatized for life. And to think that all this started with a little yellow cracked toenail. Yes, that was the beginning of my end. I don't mean to scare you, but I'm dead serious when I say that watching this video could save you from an early grave. We've had thousands write in and tell us how this video may have done just that. Why are you here? Because you stand where I stood 1.5 years ago to the day, dealing with a little bit of little toenail fungus. And, like me, you find it disgusting and inconvenient. But it's just another thing on your to-do list, right? You figure you'll make an appointment with a podiatrist, get some ointment, and you'll be on your way. And that, my friend, would be the biggest mistake of your life. No one has told you the truth about this illness until today. You're about to learn that that little fungus isn't just a little fungus. It's a siren. A very loud siren. Namely, your body screaming out for help at the top of its lungs, desperately trying to get your attention. Because your entire body is under attack from little cellular terrorists in your bloodstream right now. Yes. What is currently raging throughout your entire body is lethal, and it threatens to disrupt vital neural connections from your legs all the way up to your brain, where it can cause blindness and death. Death? Yes, 1.3 million people die per year from what appears to be just a little nail discoloration. 1.3 million. That's more people dying than most countries have. It's almost as many who die from tuberculosis. But tuberculosis has a vaccine. Rampant fungus does not. Why are so many people dying from fungus? Because the underlying disease that your toenail fungus represents is never treated by your doctor. It isn't even taught in their medical schools. They just take orders from Big Pharma. And Big Pharma gives you synthetic, artificial Band-Aid solutions, like their highly overpriced creams, pills, and untested and costly medical interventions among 10% of the people who take it. Or our Big Pharma competitors, which have caused numerous cases. Even if these Band-Aid solutions worked as claimed, which they don't, all they do is just shut off the siren while the patient slowly dies inside. And then there's the risk of vision problems. David Perlin, executive director of the Public Health Research Institute at Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, points out that 1 million people around the world are blind because of fungal infections of the eye, and half of the world's 350,000 asthma-related deaths each year stem from fungal infection. Fungus is not a bacteria, and it is not a virus. Fungus is its own animal, and that's why it's not understood and treated properly. You won't hear about these 3 million deaths on the nightly news. Maybe that's because death by fungus isn't exactly a sexy story to tell the public. But it is more likely they don't want to alarm people. And I don't want to alarm people either. I just want to save your vision, possibly your life. And if you don't listen to me, I don't blame you. The vast majority of people have no idea how deadly toenail fungus is. And it isn't your fault. You've done nothing wrong. But I invite you to do your own research to see if what I'm telling you is the truth. What I can tell you is that fungus is impossible to avoid if you breathe air from an air conditioner or eat a standard American diet. If you don't believe me, pause the video and go run your finger on the blades of your air conditioning unit. Unless you just had it cleaned up recently, I'm afraid you're in for a nasty surprise. Once the fungus gets inside, it starts releasing a poison called mycotoxin. This poison spreads throughout the body and affects not only your vital organs, but also your brain chemistry. This leads to brain fog, depression, irritability, poor memory, and makes us crave sugary foods such as starchy vegetables, sweet desserts, fruits, and bready foods. It's a never-ending cycle. Fungus makes us crave sugar. We eat sugar, The infection grows stronger and makes us crave even more sugar. If you wear shoes for more than 5 hours a day, you're at risk. If you've noticed any cracks or yellowness in any of your nails, you're already in the danger zone. So, what should you do about it? This is all going to become clear when you hear my story. The story of how my little fungus problem nearly broke up my family, left me nearly blind, helpless, suicidal, and facing a brush with death. I could even see my dead ancestors. I was minutes away from being one of the 1.7 million. If I didn't find out about the sacred Asian secret to defeating fungus completely and once and for all, if I didn't find that, I'd be in front of a gravestone instead of talking to you right now. The story is hard to tell. It triggers me in a bad way every time I tell it. But I will do it one more time, so long it ensures that it doesn't become your story. If you're deciding whether to watch this until the end, let me just ask you one question. How much time would you devote today if you knew it could help boost your immune system and help you live your life to the fullest? If it's just a few minutes of watch time, then buckle up, lock the door, and settle in. Focus. Because the fact that you have visible fungus on your toes or hands means we have very little time. Remember, this is not a sales pitch. This is the story of my life for the past 2 years. Laid naked and bare. I'm Karen Holly. And a year and a half ago, this was me, on a lung machine fighting for my life. In the worst pain of my life. Blind and depressed out of my mind because of it. Just barely able to talk. And just praying to God that this was all a nightmare. Praying it wasn't actually happening to me. I knew my husband was in the room. I knew my 3 children were in the room, some crying, all of them not knowing exactly what to do as their world was crumbling before them. Because their wife and mother, who took care of them, was actually dying. And it all started with a little harmless toe fungus. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was 9:35 on a Monday night. The kids were at a sleepover, and my husband Dale and I had each other to ourselves for the first time in months. You see, he grew up in a town of 1,489 people in Burford, Oxfordshire, England. I grew up in a town of 1,811 people in a place called Lavenham in Suffolk. And we wound up sitting next to each other at a cricket game between our 2 cities. When there was a score, everyone was looking at the players, but we were looking at each other. We were dumbstruck. He asked me if I liked Yorkshire pudding, but he could have said pretty much anything and I'd say yes. We talked until the sun came up, day after day, to the extent that we both almost lost our jobs. The romance was thick. He was down on his knee 8 weeks later. He was a real estate agent, and I was a stay-at-home mom with a golden touch for cooking and a rabid addiction to Netflix. We knew our marriage would be special, and it was. We popped out one boy, Jamie, then a girl, Ruthie, then a boy, Stevie. Here they are. And everything seemed to be just idyllic. I always felt very lucky, like we were blessed from above. Everyone around me had issues, whether it be debt, death, or illness, and we seemed to have it all. So you can imagine how I felt when I started to go blind, when I started to lose my mind, when my legs were being threatened with permanent damage. How did this start? What I haven't told you is that my husband Dale has always had a foot fetish. He loved my feet, kissing them, fondling them, admiring them. I must say, I liked my feet a lot too. They were creamy and symmetrical, pretty spectacular. But one day he's down there doing his thing, and I hear the word, ugh, come out of his mouth. I said, what is it, honey? He says, I think you better take a look at this. And it kind of smells, to be honest. Did you shower today? Oh my God, what are you talking about? I said. Of course I showered. He said, it's your nail. It's turned all yellow. I said, let me see that. As I got off the bed and pulled my leg up to my face, I couldn't believe it. I wash my feet and nails rigorously. I get pedicures every month. Nobody takes better care of my feet than me. And yet, there it was. One of my toenails had turned yellow. It was the second from the right, the ring toe. I can't believe I hadn't noticed it before. I felt so embarrassed. I never felt so ugly. It seemed to me like an old geezer in a sauna problem. Not a problem for a 32-year-old woman in her semi-prime should have. I went to Father Google, and he told me it was no big deal. Just see your doctor. He'll provide some topical treatment, and it'll all be over with. But it wasn't over with. In fact, that is just where my problems began. I saw our general practitioner, Dr. Mavens. He gave me some Lamisil, which I applied for 8 days. But on day 9, something happened that shook me up. My eyes started to get a little blurry. It was almost like seeing through your windshield when the defroster hadn't taken effect. My heart beat out of my chest. I could still function, though. I could still drive, but I was quickly losing that ability. I asked my friends what they thought. They said, eyes change all the time. Give it some time. This gave me some temporary relief, but it didn't last. They didn't change, and it didn't get better. By day 14, after a near miss with a Hyundai Santa Fe, I decided it wasn't safe for me to drive anymore. My independence was now gone. And that's when my world became very small. I was stuck in the house, listening to Queen, with absolutely nothing to do. Podcasts and more podcasts, until I'd heard them all twice, and my eyes just kept getting worse. Eventually, I couldn't shower. I had to hire someone just to help me get in the tub. And what they don't tell you about blindness is the utter boredom, the inability to do anything for yourself. The depression. I start to think about offing myself, how I would do it. With aspirin? With a car in the garage? But I knew what that would do to this family. Maybe it would get better. But I knew it wouldn't. You'd think this was bad. But as we went to the podiatrist, Dr. Frankel, he had no idea what to do about the blindness, of course. But he did have more misery to spread. He said, I know this isn't what you want to hear right now, but the infection has spread throughout your leg. If we don't amputate in the next 3 weeks, I'm afraid you could lose your life. Amputate? I said, like the whole thing? He said, yes, from the hip. So now I wasn't just going to be blind, I was going to be a blind cripple. A pathetic excuse for a human being. My whole life had been turned upside down in a matter of weeks. This can't be happening, all because of some toe fungus? Well, I guess this disease is about more than just the toes. It's a whole body thing. I thought back to the good old days when driving and walking were just things taken for granted. That night I had an attack. I don't know if it was an anxiety attack or what, but for whatever reason, my breathing was really shallow and it was getting harder and harder to inhale. I said, this is the way I'm going to go. My lungs will give out and I'll suffocate. I was actually happy to die. This life was not a life worth living. So we rushed to the ER and they hooked me up to a lung machine and my whole family was there. That's when my Stevie screamed out, "Don't die, Mommy, don't die." But Mommy was already dead inside. That attack passed and I was back home, crying every single day and night. My husband Dale, however, refused to throw in the towel. He said, we have 3 weeks before amputation. I'm going to figure something out. I said, yeah, right. Let me know when you've found something worth talking about. He never stopped working from that moment until 2 weeks later. He went out and read every book in the library on fungus. He was knee-deep in fungus. Every day he was on Google Scholar reading every study, every article, every research paper. Even ones from small colleges and even from studies that were considered unorthodox or risky. He could have aced his way into any podiatry school from those 2 weeks of study. He even went to the Library of Congress website to get more answers to questions he hadn't met. He searched and searched for something, for anything that could help. even if it meant coming up with a solution no one in the world had thought of. Funny thing is, the more he learned, the more angry he became. He learned how much money Big Pharma is making off of selling Lamisil and ointments that are costly but have never stopped a fungal infection in their lives. Maybe this is the reason there's no parades against fungus. Maybe this is the reason the entire medical establishment isn't talking about it. One study was more of a positive note. What he found interesting was the toenail fungal problem virtually did not exist in Japan. No recorded deaths, not even very many cases at all. Maybe this fungus immunity had something to do with why they live the longest of any people. As you know, whenever someone pops up who lives to 122, they're usually from Japan. The word for fungus in Japanese actually means danger to life. So there was obviously a real awareness in Japan of the danger of fungus. So he went to the Japanese Medical Society in New York, which was both beautiful and extremely disappointing. Right off the bat, we realized these doctors were no different from Dr. Maven and Dr. Frankel. They also told us to take Lamisil, and there was nothing they could do about my eyes or my leg. And then it hit me. These weren't real Japanese doctors. These were American-trained doctors of Japanese descent. The fact that they were Japanese meant nothing. It was just a scammy way to bring in clients who hoped they were getting a better, more holistic approach of their body. But they didn't provide that at all. However, there is one thing they said that made it worth it. I said, "What is real Japanese medicine called?" They said, "It's called Campo." "And where can I go to get Campo?" He said, "For that, you will have to go to Japan." We were on a flight to Tokyo the next morning. We had no idea what we were going to do there, and we didn't speak a word of Japanese. But something was pulling us there almost in a metaphysical way. When we got off the plane, we found the nearest tourist center and asked where we could find a Japanese doctor who practices Campo. We said we're desperate. No one in America has been able to help us, even Japanese doctors. Now, this wasn't your average tourist guide. She really wanted to give us a flavor of Japanese culture. She said, "Let me ask you this. Do you want a Campo doctor or a Japanese miracle worker? Because in this very town, there is what you'd call a guru who heals people of the most dangerous diseases like heart issues and type 2 diabetes. His teas have brought many people back from death's door. When nothing else has worked, people go to him. And if you go to him, I think at the very least, it'll give you a side of Japan you never would have been able to see. I'll take you there." Miracle worker sounded crazy, but something outside the box is exactly what we needed. She said this man is a descendant of Saicho, who lived from 767 to 869. He lived to be 102. He is a Buddhist tea master. Word is he was affected by radiation as a 15-year-old during World War II, and he completely healed himself and is now 96 and in tremendous vibrancy and health. He was the founder of the influential Tendai school of Japanese Buddhism. He also established the famous Enryaku-ji monastery complex on the outskirts of Hyankyo. In the centuries to follow, Enryaku-ji and the Tendai school both played heavy roles in the religious and political landscapes of Japan. It was a tough journey to get to his monastery. We were all sweaty when we got to him. He was awash in incense smoke, and as soon as we entered his space, we felt an unbelievable warm calm. This was the first moment on the trip that I didn't want to injure or kill myself anymore. I just knew it was all going to be okay. He asked us to come close. He was a short, thin man with a wispy white beard. I know that's the cliche, but that's the truth about how he looked. He took notice of the way Dale had to hold me as I stumbled towards him. He said, "You are blind, correct?" I said yes. He said many things can cause blindness, but one of the most common is fungus. Have you noticed any signs of fungus? I guess this guy was more than a miracle worker. He was a mind reader. We told him about my toenail changing color. He said yes. This is a common American problem. It's a result of your diet and the pollution in the air. We said, okay, but is there anything you can do to bring her sight back? He said, I want you to know something about Japan. We have many Japanese rice farmers who spend countless hours in muddy waters working in the perfect environment for fungi to thrive. Yet they don't get sick. They have no infection. He said, that's because they learned from me. And then he says, so the answer is yes, absolutely. Nature provides the answer and cures to all of its ills. What I can give you will clean the body of infection from the inside and from the outside. I was impressed with his perfect command of the English language. But more so, I was excited to see what nature had to offer me. He said, I understand you have heard of my teas. You are well aware that the ingredients in these teas go back 1,300 years. But they work as well now as they did then. He touched my head, then he touched my heart. Then he touched my toe. And he said, yes, I think we can help you. Give me a moment. He went into a special room. Apparently, this room had a lot of exotic ingredients that he didn't want everyone to know about. Hey, everyone has to make a living, right? So he kept their identity to himself. It took about half an hour of waiting until he comes out with a steaming teapot and a mug. He said, take a sip. I said, are you sure? He said, this will heal and restore your vision. So I took a sip, and I was just barely able to swallow it because it was so bitter. But my husband kept egging me on and said, keep going, it's good for you. So I took one gulp after another. Figuring I'd rip this off like a Band-Aid, I just took the whole thing in one shot. I reached the bottom of the mug. Is that it? He said, yes, that's it. I waited. Nothing happened for the first 2 minutes, but then, oh my God, my eyes started to get a little clearer. I looked at Dale and I could see his face. Tears started to stream down my face. I looked up and I saw the trees around me. It wasn't 2020, but I knew I'd be able to walk by myself again. My heart was singing. This actually worked. It actually worked, I kept saying to myself. Thank God, and thank this man. My whole entire life was coming back to me. I hugged the guru, and we talked and talked, and as the hours went by, my vision started to totally clear up. I said, I've got to bring this to America. So many are suffering. But Americans won't like to drink something so bitter. He said, if you really want to bring this to America, you can compound these ingredients. He pulled out a napkin and wrote down what the ingredients were. There are exactly 22, and he told me in what ratios they should be administered. I couldn't believe he was sharing this secret sauce. For all I knew, this could put him out of business. But he did it anyways. Why? I don't know for certain. I know he was moved by my story. And he knew, and I knew, there were plenty of reasons to visit him besides fungus. This is a man everyone should meet, for whatever problem they might have. I'll soon tell you how to find him. But you don't have to fly to Japan anymore to have his formula. As you'll see in a moment, we took these 22 ingredients, and we added in 3 more proven Japanese ingredients that are proven in many studies to eradicate fungus from within and without. They are shiitake, reishi, and maitake mushrooms, which form a unique fungal nuking trio that starves out the infection by soaking up the sugar entering your body and then flushing it out before it can cause more harm to your health. This is backed by many studies. The 3 in particular are in fact natural fungal destroyers. Also see, not the least of which is this journal that states, which showed that a combination of reishi, shiitake, and maitake mushroom extracts may synergistically stimulate immune cell responses, says a new study from Australia. The study describes for the first time that while individual extracts from these 3 mushrooms increase level of cytokines involved in immune stimulation, the combination produced a far greater effect on cytokine expression than have could been predicted based on the effects of the individual mushrooms. The most well-known species of cordyceps is Cordyceps sinensis, the most expensive mushroom in the world, costing over $20,000 per kilogram and sold almost exclusively in Asia. It is a rare combination of a caterpillar and a mushroom and is found at high altitudes in the Himalayan plateau. The mushrooms are taken not just for fungus, but for all kinds of illnesses. Once these 3 elixirs of life reaches your bloodstream, the active ingredients act as a blood cleanser, putting the infection on the defensive and putting it on the verge of extinction. We made all this into a formulation that you can swallow with no bitterness, and it only takes 7 seconds. We connected with the absolute finest GMP-certified sources, compounders, and manufacturers to ensure you get the exact same power as what the guru gave me. It had to work just as well, just as fast, just as effectively, so you will get the same results that I did. My fungus cleared up, vision coming back. My nails looked beautiful again, and any threat to my life or my legs was drastically improved now. My doctors couldn't believe it. In just weeks, this all turned around. I took it for 3 months to totally eradicate the infection and make sure it never comes back. Some take it for 6 months because they just enjoy the immunity-boosting properties, the mental sharpness, and peacefulness that this formula provides. We call the formula the only thing we could call it, the Fungus Elixir. And it absolutely nukes the hell out of the fungus in each inch of your body. It will completely clean your bloodstream of any fungus and any other toxins. By now, we have given Fungus Elixir to over 40,000 former fungus sufferers, and we have only received incredible feedback. We just see results over and over again. Legs saved, eyes saved, lives saved. If there were 6 stars on Amazon, that's how many we'd get. It's science, but it works almost like a dream. You take Fungus Elixir, and it gets to work immediately. You see results far faster than anything Big Pharma has to offer. Only this attacks the problem at its source, not just at the nails. Your life with Fungus Elixir is very different from your life without Fungus Elixir. Let's face the facts. You can't leave toenail fungus untreated, or else it will spread to your feet and the infection will enter your system and can cause septicemia, which could be life-threatening. Mainstream treatment will burn an $1,800 hole in your wallet, money which you could just keep and use for something else. Like I showed you before, the toll that drugs like Lamisil or Sporanox take on your health is not something you can take lightly. Your liver, kidneys, heart will pay the ultimate price. These side effects will put you in a hospital bed for months and cost you tens of thousands of dollars to manage. And by the way, does your insurance cover it? This won't protect you from a new and more aggressive outbreak, the first time your immunity takes a nosedive. By healing yourself, you are also protecting your family. But with the Fungus Elixir, you gain health because the Japanese remedies used by this guru are 100% natural and safe to use. You gain time because this will spare you from unpleasant visits to your doctor. You gain money because this remedy costs a fraction of any cream or pill treatment recommended by your doctor. You gain immunity because the Fungus Elixir boosts your internal defense systems, which prevent future infections. Those are 2 very different paths, and the choice is only yours. But remember, every second that passes is a second the infection roots itself deeper in your body. Just choose an option below to claim a future free of frustration, suffering, and humiliation. Every body is different, so I can't give you an atomic clock timing for when it will work for you, but it will work for you. Because since we created the formula, we have tested it on thousands upon thousands of people. And this is what they had to say. Janine Goldberg, Holly, I am writing this letter to thank you for making Fungus Elixir. Like you, I was also being told there would be a permanently life-changing surgery. Then I found your ad, and it was like divine intervention. I couldn't believe how easy it was to take the formula and how fast it would start working. I went to my doctor after taking Fungus Elixir. He said I can't explain it, but nearly all the fungus in your body is gone. My legs are mine to keep. I'm frolicking on the beach like I'm 10 years old. You did that for me, Holly. Bless you and that guru you met. You are saving lives. And then there is Mike Pareto. Holly, this Fungus Elixir formula is truly amazing. I've never taken anything that got me such quick and effective results. I'm going to be taking this for life, just to make sure it never comes back, because what I went through is absolutely hell. Let's take a look at what Fungus Elixir has done for people's nails. This last one is Sandy, who wasn't able to even walk for weeks, and now she's sporting flip-flops on the beach. If you order today, I'd like you to have 3 bonuses. These are short books that perfectly complement your journey with Fungus Elixir. The first one is Easy Fixes to Foot Odor. Foot odor is embarrassing, and it makes you uncomfortable ever being barefoot. But when your shoes and socks are on all the time, it makes the odor worse. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Well, that problem is over now, because there are 2 simple all-natural fixes you can apply to your feet that will permanently get rid of the odor. Your feet will feel more alive when you do this. And the second bonus is a book called Vitamin and Mineral Miracles. Vitamin and minerals are like the gas that makes your body run. And we are all depleted, except for those who have this book. Virtually no one in America is getting enough and getting these in the right proportions. But not you. You'll enjoy more health, more aliveness, more energy, more mental clarity because you have the exact path to the perfect vitamin and miracle supplementation and balance. But back to Fungus Elixir. Nothing is the same after you take this Fungus Elixir. Your whole body functions in a new way. Once the fungus is gone, your life begins. You feel less stressed. You feel more energy. You feel more confidence. People are even reporting better performance in the bedroom. Just imagine yourself on the beach, the sand between your toes, looking down and loving your new pedicure. No more shame, no more embarrassment. You actually show your feet off. Because this is not about your nails. It's about the functioning of your entire body. We all have some fungus in our body, and it's just waiting to spread. This stops that from ever happening. It allows you a new lease on life. If you're disgusted with your toes, if you're worried about losing your toes, if you are run down, I highly recommend you try Fungus Elixir before you do anything. We're not claiming this can save your toes. We're just saying you may be worrying about that. Your doctor will be shocked at what he finds, because what he finds will be a new person. And if you do nothing, here's what's in your future. Not just blindness, but other potential life-threatening conditions like mood and brain disorders, chronic inflammation, joint problems, and more. There's more. If you order 6 bottles today, you enter our Fungus Elixir VIP Club. This means you'll get frequent advice that will improve your circulation and remove toxins from your body. How much water should I drink? What's the easiest way to lose weight? Put our experts on the hot seat and find out. All is answered in this private group, and if we don't know, we go directly back to the guru for the best answer. I don't like talking about the price of my products, and you don't like hearing about it. Let's face it, it's a depressing issue. But we've got to charge something for this, or we can't keep selling it. And you really have something to think about when it comes to the price. Because what would you pay to save your eyesight? What would you pay to be able to see color and walk without a walking stick? To walk without bumping into walls? To see your children's shining faces? What would you give for the peace of mind of knowing you never have to worry about the specter of lethal fungus again? What would you pay to save your life? $1,000, $2,000, $5,000? Of course you would pay $5,000 if you knew it would save your life, but you don't have to pay $5,000 to do that. You can save your eyes and your arm and your leg for merely $99 per bottle. That lasts you 30 days, enough time to complete the first stage of eradicating all the fungus from your system. But I've got good news. In the last shipment, they manufactured more than we asked for, which is why we have some extra bottles, about 300, that we can sell for even less than $99. These are bonus bottles, and we want you to have them. So if you're fast and a little lucky, you can get yourself a bottle for just $69. That's the lowest we've ever sold this product and the lowest we ever will sell this product. I hope you're in time to get one of these bonus bottles. Just to ask yourself, how much were you going to spend on artificial creams and pills with no science to back them up? A cream that only masks the problem and actually causes more harm than good. It cost me $2,000 and 2 weeks to fly to Japan. It cost Dale thousands of hours worth of research. It costs tens of thousands to source these ingredients so we can actually sell it as a retail product. It costs thousands more to have these ingredients compounded. It costs thousands more to have these ingredients encapsulated. It costs thousands more to have these capsules bottled. And it costs thousands more to label the bottles. It costs thousands more to go through FDA approval. It costs thousands more to patent our ingredients. And how much does it cost you? $69 if you're lucky, $99 if you're not. You cannot get these bottles on Amazon or at Walmart. This is the only place on the internet where you can get Fungus Elixir. Anyone claiming to have Fungus Elixir anywhere but this site, you know right away is a fraud, and we will be prosecuting them shortly if we haven't already. We only allow people to buy who fully understand what you're taking, and that can only be done on our site. Just so you know, the packaging is discreet. I know you're going to start taking it right away. You'll feel healthier all around, and your body will thank you in so many ways. You will be like a new person. All you have to do is go all in for this solution. All you need to do is decide no more threats to your eyes or your health, no more threats to the integrity of your legs, and no more disgusting yellow nails. I know it's scary sometimes to take a shot, to let that ball leave your hands and leave it up to fate. And you hit or you miss. But think of it like this. If you don't take a shot, you're guaranteed not to score. But if you do take a shot, you have a very good chance you might score. You lose all the shots you don't take. But that's the beauty of this decision. There is no miss. You don't like it, you get all your money back in hours. You've made it this far. Do you want this entire time you spent watching this video to be a waste? Or do you want it to be something cool you try that could save your life or make your life better than it ever has been? I think the choice is obvious. You have the option of just letting the ticking time bomb tick and hope it never goes off. Or you can put out that ticking time bomb and enjoy better health. Once again, I think the choice is obvious. So jump into the pool. Lock in your survival. Lock in your eyesight. Hit the button below and I'll see you on the other side with something really special. You're still here? I know why. You don't believe in the product enough. So let me just say, this product comes from the most pure sources of nutrition anywhere in the world. It's probably the reason the Japanese live so long. It comes from a tradition going back 1,000 years. And it's proven over and over and over to work in minutes. We have thousands who have tried, and not one complaint. Thousands of success stories. I don't know how to wake you up to the reality that you could be a statistic. Hit the order button below and get out of the danger zone and into health and peace and comfort. Hit the button below now. It'll be the smartest move you ever make. Guys, remember, when you're blind, you can't throw a football with your son. You can't ski. You can't change a tire. And women, you can't put on makeup. You can't do your nails. You can't go out with your friends. You have no friends. You're stuck alone in the house, hour after hour, day after day, week after week. If you don't want to injure yourself at that point, consider yourself fortunate. It doesn't have to be this way. Fate put Fungus Elixir in front of you today for a reason. I should warn you, we're always at risk of running out of bottles of Fungus Elixir, and I don't want you left out in the cold. So place that order right now, not a second later. It's not every day you get to buy a product for 5% of what it costs to make it. It's not every day you buy a product that forever changes and protects your health. This may be the best investment that you could ever make. And the fact that it's such a small investment makes this decision a complete no-brainer. And speaking of no-brainer, I'm about to bring down the house with a rock-solid, no questions asked, money-back return policy. My philosophy is people should only have to pay for products that they are happy with. If you're not happy, you should be able to get all your money back, no questions asked. And when I say no questions asked, I mean it. I mean, when you call and ask for your money back, we don't ask you what went wrong. We don't ask you if you really tried the product. We just immediately return the money to your card. We have our own processing system, so we are able to get the money back on your card within the hour. You will see your money back right away. You don't send back used bottles. You don't send back new bottles. You send nothing back. And we give you back everything. That's how business should be done. But how will you get in touch with us? Here's the email. We're there 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., waiting and ready to answer your calls. Our customer support agents have been mercilessly trained for months. They are lightning fast with replies. We have no new recruits at this time. Everyone working for me has been working for me for the past several years and gone through the trial by fire. They are tried, they are true, they are kind and courteous. They will give you white glove treatment. They will make you feel like $1,000,000. You know, when you get a customer service representative that really makes your day, that's how all of our representatives treat our customers. They will have your money back on your card faster than you can say the words, thank you. Just look at this testimonial about our refund process. Wow, I loved the product. I just had some expenses come up and I couldn't afford it anymore. I was so pleased to deal with the Fungus Elixir customer service agents. They are so extremely professional. I had my money back within the hour. I have never had such a good customer service experience in my life. Bravo. You've really done a bang-up job training these people. And it really makes a difference because as soon as I find a job, I'm rebuying and you've got a customer for life. Even Medell, Michigan. And now it's the moment of truth. What I want you to do right now is take a look at that fungus on your toes or on your hands. If that means taking off your shoes and socks, do it. It's worth it. Then I want you to imagine the infection that's going from there on all throughout your body, up through your legs, into your stomach, all over your arms, to your neck, and in your face, in your eyes, and in your brain. That's what this little fungus represents. You are a ticking time bomb, whether you want to admit it or not. Your eyesight is in danger, grave danger, and I know you don't want to know what it's like to live blind, because it isn't living at all. When you have all this fully clear in your mind, I want you to hit the order button below and fill out the form on the next page, because by doing that, you can imagine all those little terrorists being shot and buried. You can imagine that fungus disappearing from your entire body, turning into mist. And you can imagine it happening in the next 5 minutes once you open that bottle. We tend to only worry about problems when they come. It's hard to take measures for problems that aren't there yet, but I'm here to tell you the problem is already there. As I said, the toe fungus is a siren, and the fungal infection through your entire body is the problem. 1.3 million people will die from this infection. They're dying as you watch this video. Will you be one of them? I know the answer. I know that if you hit the order button below and take what I'm giving you, you will have no problem whatsoever. That's my promise to you. But if you hesitate, if you delay, if you push it off, if you ignore, I cannot say what will happen to your vision. I cannot say they won't cut off your leg at the hip. I cannot guarantee anything. Only Fungus Elixir has a guarantee. So this isn't a joke. And this isn't a test. This is your real life, on the line. You're sitting here watching this video and not realizing You could be in a coffin if you make the wrong move. Toenail fungus is not to be trifled with. If you don't stop it, it will stop you. So what's it going to be? Fear of losing $69, which you can never lose because we'll give it all back when you want it. Or living with the fear that fungus could go to your eyes. It's by God's grace that it hasn't gone to your eyes already. It can happen any moment, even today. Let's hit the button together and end this fear. You cannot get this secret formula anywhere else. It's a direct tradition from Sideshow to his descendant, from me to you. It comes from 6,000 miles away. You are looking at the biggest gift horse right in the mouth right now. This is your chance at greatness. This is your chance at peace. This is your chance at relief. You don't have to deal with fungus anymore. The answer is here, and it's Fungus Elixir. Let me tell you what it's like to not be able to see as well as you used to. You lay on your bed with nothing to do but listen to podcasts. You need help even turning on the podcasts. You can't go out and can't go on your computer, and you run out of podcasts after a few days, and then you're just completely bored. Then you're depressed. Then you feel like you're going out of your mind. Is this really what you want? Do you want to even leave it to chance whether this will happen to you? I know you don't. So hit the button below right now and enter a new world of health and clean living. Frequently asked questions. How many bottles should we buy? How do I know it works? Is this manufactured at a reputable manufacturing facility? My charge isn't going through. Also, be sure there are enough funds in your account to cover the purchase. Okay, people, it's go time. It's your last chance. Make it or break it. When this video ends, you will no longer be able to get a bottle of Fungus Elixir. I repeat, this is your last chance to make this decision. Hit the button below, and I'll see you on the other side. For those who want to see the nutrition and ingredients label, here it is. Click the button. Fill in the information. This is your last chance.